And slowly opening the eyes.
You just said that in our human experience we do selfish things, and sometimes you talk also that we abandon ourselves and we don't put ourselves in the first place. And I feel I get confused sometimes, and I want you to talk about the difference in between being selfish and putting yourself in the first place, or how do you feel that?
You know, the first thing is you have to become empty. All of these ideas and belief systems, and then you can start to trust in your heart. And the thing of the heart is it feels so abundant, it gives. But it gives from abundance. It doesn't give from an idea. If I'm a good person, I will give. If I'm a good person, I will do as I'm told. If I'm a good daughter, I will do what my mother wants. If I'm a good mother, do you see there's 2 billion ideas? But they're just ideas. If I'm good, I will abandon myself and be resented. Is that a good idea? No. So we have to cultivate consciousness. And once we cultivate that, we have a very clear vision of what is love and what is compromise. But we don't have to think about it. It's just natural. You know, consciousness can flow with anything. Consciousness is naturally giving. There's nothing selfish about it. But it has clarity. What you're talking about swings in many different directions. And often, you just end up being resented. I did what I was told. I did everything right in life. I got told to do this and I did it. And still I'm miserable. Life was meant to give me something more. I went to school, I graduated, I studied what my parents want, I got married, I had children. Life was meant to give me more because I followed the rules. But why did you follow the rules? Because you wanted approval, because you were afraid of losing love, because in reality you didn't really know what you wanted, and so you just did that. And then when you got to the point in your life where you'd worked so hard and tried so hard, the husband left you with the secretary, the children are not talking to you. You know, it's always the same story. And then you're angry at God because I did what I was meant to do. But were you meant to do that? Because you thought that was what you needed to do. Because you had no idea who you were. You're just playing a role with a mask or a multitude of masks. And now you're going to find your true self, and everything will come from that essence, that true self. And it'll be unlimited. It will see the perfection in what transpired, but then it will be free. Free to trust in your own heart. So you won't have to ask me those questions. Or I'll be giving you another set of rules. And I don't want to do that with anyone. My only rule is go in, go in, go in, go in, go in, go in, and find your own answers.
Since I remember I eat with guilt. Even happens with the food that I'm given here. How can I stop this?
Can you explain a bit more?
We were three brothers. I was the fatter one of the three. I was the little one, and they used to annoy me. My mother, since then, she put me into diet.
So you have to see that. Your issue with food, your issue with your body. And you have to go inside and move it. You know, and when you see that guilt, oh, I'm eating too much, oh, I'm fat, or whatever it is, you just have to go inwards and connect with it and see that it's just a circle. And you have to heal it. And the guilt, humans are born of guilt. Because from the moment we're this big, we're told we're doing it wrong. They say, tell the truth, but don't say that. Do this, but don't do that. If you loved me, you would do this, this, and this. All the conditions are external. And we're all demanding each other. And little children are so sensitive, and they always think they're doing everything wrong. And you just need to go in and heal that. Heal the guilt for existing and see how silly it is. And then you can start to enjoy your life. And see the shoulds. I should, I should, I should. Let them go. And find the silence. The secret is in the silence. Because you'll never find content in your head. Because it's the ego. It's always in duality. Always in duality. There's always something wrong with me. Yeah?
I know you talk about this, but I would like you to talk more about fear.
Okay, no worries. Okay, fear. What is fear? Something in our bodies, no? It's a memory that we record in our bodies. We have incidents in our lives where we're afraid, where we're judged, where we feel humiliated, maybe we feel violated. But over a period of time, it's all locked in our bodies. And it starts to create an anxiety. And it's here. So when something happens externally, and it might be something stupid, it might be a smell, it might be a song, it might be a person, and it triggers that fear. So all fear is illusionary. It's within us. It's not reality. We perceive through our internal experience. So what is fear? It's love, but it's a very low vibration. Now the facets elevate that vibration until everything's vibrating in a higher frequency. And how does that happen? Through doing the system. That's why I say, in order to heal, you have to be at home. You have to be in your body. You can't heal in the ethers. You know, many spiritual people think that to be spiritual is to be out of your body, to be exalted, to be having extraordinary experiences. But the minute you come back to your body, the fear's still there. Pure consciousness is constant. It's something very concrete, something very definite. It's a security that underlies everything. So as we do the system and we liberate all that fear, we start to experience unconditional love. And the memories that create our window of perception start to leave. And then we start to see reality. So what is fear? It's love. It's a low vibration. That's all. That's why we need to walk through it. That's why we need to expose it. That's why we need to feel it. It's nothing about this system's intellectual. There's no knowledge or information. The only thing important is what comes from you. And it's very simple. I elevate my vibration. I take off my mask. I be authentic. I speak my truth. I be as a child, but with a mature experience. And ultimately, I start to love myself unconditionally. And then I start to appreciate everything. You experience separation because you have judgment. There's something wrong. And you have to heal that. The moment you heal the judgment, you can see the love. Because sometimes there's so much love coming towards us, but we can't see it because we have so many judgments. Just ideas in our head, expectations, and it puts a barrier. Humans reject love, and the irony is they demand love, but then they reject it. Because in reality, they always want love where it doesn't exist. I want that love, but there's not love there. The love's coming. No, I don't want that love because I don't deserve it. And is any of this conscious? Nada. No one knows. It's so robotic. It's so automatic. We're not even conscious of it until we start to find it internally. And then it's mirrored.
Today, in coming into the meeting, I was feeling contracted. And with every expression, I felt a lot of love to each person who expressed. And at the end of the meeting, I suddenly had a facet like come through me. And I felt like amazing peace. But I want to like make sure then my mind goes, am I doing it wrong? Am I not expressing enough?
This is a schoolroom fear, no? The schoolroom. We always think we're doing something wrong. And always when everything's perfect and you're experiencing peace, we put the doubt. It's like we can't tolerate the peace. We can't tolerate to be happy. We're always expecting something to go wrong. And this is half of the battle. Just letting those thoughts go and just allowing. You know, when people are happy, they're always having an expectation. They expect to be disillusioned. But when you have consciousness, you just keep taking everything back there and not focusing on the fear. and having an expectation because everything's perfect. You know, whatever you need to see, you will create. You can't avoid it. You don't have to go sifting through the rubbish. You will create it. Yeah, you'll create what you need to see. So just be open, be present, and trust, because we always create these situations that are showing us self. Why? Because this is self. It's all the same. It's just a mirror showing us how to evolve. And that's why it's so important to start trusting in the outside. Stop hiding from it. Stop pretending. Open to receive. You know, people say to me, oh, you got enlightened, but you didn't have a guru. I had a million gurus because I was so surrendered. I was surrendered to everything and everyone because I had a perception of myself that I had no idea. And everyone I was open to receive. And some of my greatest reflections that really triggered things in me came from places that I couldn't anticipate. I could say, well, I did say, from the taxi driver. He said something and it was like, boom, oh, that's it. So when you're open to receive, especially in the places you don't want to, that's when you start to really grow. When you let go of your judgments and you listen to everyone and you're very here now, that's when you start to fly. But when you're arrogant and you've got everything separated, oh, this is the advanced group, this one doesn't know anything, this one's in his head, this one doesn't... Stop doing that. Open and say yes, especially when you don't want to listen. That's when you need to really listen. So we have to change the chip. The protection, the surrender. Surrender's like this. Surrender's like that.
There are aspects in myself that I start seeing and I don't like. How can I embrace myself without judging?
Okay. You're going to judge yourself. Because if you stop judging yourself, you'll be able to embrace yourself. So you have to let the judgment go. And the way to do that is to move the energy. Because judgment's an energy. It's an energy. It's something that's transpired in your life, or an idea, or a belief system that creates the judgment. There's something wrong. And when you move that energy, you liberate the fact that there's something wrong. And it opens. And then it goes. Everything's energetic. Everything's contained in the body. Everything comes from the thought. It's triggered here. Boom. I liberate. It goes. Some ideas are very rigid, no? There's strong judgments. I did something wrong, I did something wrong, I did something wrong, there's something wrong with me, I shouldn't have done that, I'll never forgive myself. They're heavy judgments. And there's a lot of energy behind them. So you have to move and move and move until it opens. Because it's not true. You never did anything wrong. Ever. Ever. You never did anything wrong. I don't care what you did. I don't care if it was immoral. I don't care if it was... I just don't care. And you have to get to that point. Because what we do in ignorance is of no consequence. We grow from that. But if we're ignorant, we are the reaction of fear. And humans do atrocities because of fear. And we have to see that. You know, it's what Jesus says. Forgive them, Father. They don't know what they do. And it's true. Father's the consciousness, the unconditional love, God. They don't know what they do. You're having a human experience and you do lots of stupid things, lots of selfish things, lots of careless things, lots of violent things, lots of destructive things, lots of selfish things. But we do it more to ourselves than we do to anyone. So you have to let that go. You have to let that go. And then the judgment will disappear externally.
I want to know how to heal and let go resentment.
You have to have the intention to let go. You know, so many people attach to their resentment. And it's poison. But we like it because it feeds the victim. So when someone says something to us, we pull out our resentment. Remember what you did. And we do that in relationships. And then we wonder why there's no love. Why? Because we have to let go. We have to let everything go in the moment. Speak the truth, let it go. And some horrible things happen. And it's very hard to let go. But we have to do it for us. Because it is poisonous. If you're carrying resentment, you are not free. You don't have to do it for the other person. You have to do it for you. Just keep letting go. If I'm empowered, I don't have resentment. And I wish empowerment for everyone, not revenge. It's the same energy. It has nothing to do with unconditional love. We always have to think, what is my highest vision of myself? It's easy to be normal, resented, angry, unforgiving. It's easy. Everyone does that. That's all they do in soap operas. Do you want to be that person? You have to have a vision of who you want to be. How would you like to define yourself? And if it's on a higher plane of consciousness, you have to go towards that. And these basic feelings, resentment, hate, blah, 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 you have to let them all go because they're not helping you. And that's what the system's for. I move, I move, I move, I move, I move. And see this idea that you have a right over someone else's feelings. See that too. You know, when there's breakups in relationships, you have the right to demand because they owe me something. And see that expectation. It should look like this. And see how you take sides because of your ideas of what's right and what's wrong. Like everyone should have the same idea. Or you judge. I don't talk to that person because they did this, this, and this. And this is dogma. It's got nothing to do with love. So always focus on who you want to be. Who's what you want to be.
You always talk that consciousness expands and grows. And I want to know if consciousness, for some reason, stops or can go backward.
No. Consciousness is eternal. Always was, always will be. Didn't come, didn't go. It's just eternal. Expanding, 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 expanding. That's the nature of consciousness. We experience this much as the truth. The illusion is so strong, it's tricked God into thinking it's this. Consciousness is beyond anything we can imagine. And the only way to find the truth is through here. By letting go, letting go, letting go. And focusing on that, on that, on that vibration. And it will just keep expanding.
My question is the responsibility of the ego and the normal responsibility is the same or is different?
The responsibility of the ego is human. It's functional. Responsibility of consciousness is divinity. It's of the heart. It's not of the head. It's the choice of what you're being, what you're choosing in each moment. Am I choosing love? Am I choosing to flow? Am I choosing to surrender? Of the ego? Am I protecting myself? Am I defining myself? It's always based in duality. Consciousness is always focused on the highest point, which is unity, unconditional love, abundance, perfection.
Can you talk about anxiety? What is and why is this energy that takes us towards the outside looking for something?
You know, the facets are creating that. You're unifying a lot, and all this stress is coming up. And before, it's just a build-up of stress. You know, people have panic attacks. They have all these nervous habits. Because all their lives they're stuffing everything. Pretending, 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 pretending. They're never nurturing with themselves. Going, achieving, achieving, achieving. Defending, 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 defending. All of those behaviors don't allow us to be free. And yes, we're full of anxiety. Then we learn to go in. Then we liberate everything. And then we find a place of peace. But it's all a consequence of that. That exigence. Trying to do it right. Trying to be the best. Trying to survive.
Since I arrived, the biggest challenge had been to let go. And I thought I was letting go, and I saw that in reality I was lying to myself. I was letting go with some reservations. I continued, and I saw that I was hiding something, wanting to hold on to something. Yesterday, I was invited to let go of something that is very hard. And my heart tells me, I feel there, that yes, it's the correct thing. But my mind tells me not. And I'm like in that fight. My question is, how can I let go without suffering?
You know, you just have to let it go. But it's energy. You think you're suffering. But you know, you don't always let go immediately. Especially if you have a fixed idea. Especially if the victim's convinced that they're right. It's difficult to let go. So you just have to have the intention. And this is responsibility. I'm suffering because I am right. And if I let go of this, I'm losing a part of myself. Because I am right and I want justice. But justice is an illusion. It depends on everyone's point of view. It's not real. The only responsibility you have is what you're being, what you're feeling. This is the only thing you have control over. You cannot change the outside, but you can change you simply by letting go. Just letting go. So keep moving until you've let it go. Maybe it's a big thing for you, but you can do it. Obvious. You have to do it. Or keep suffering.
I could like to know more about desire. We have to abandon the desire, or?
You're so worried about your desires, no? Well, you should put your first desire to be desirelessness. That would be fabulous for you. You know, to have a dream or an idea, to want to discover something or create something, that's fine. That's the human experience. We need to experience a million different things. To think that that desire is going to bring you happiness, that is illusionary. You must become the happiness here and then go out there and have all of those experiences. But without one thing, attachment. If you're attached, you suffer. Because you're so focused on the goal, you cannot see the path. And you have to be able to see the path. Because the path's always changing direction. And that's the discovery of self. That's the beauty. It's not just the goal. Once you get to the goal, you'll always be disillusioned. Because then you want another goal. But if your goal is to be complete within you, you will enjoy that moment. And then you create something new. So, if I'm not attached, I don't suffer. If I'm not attached, I'm saying yes. And another thing that's very interesting is when you start to say yes, All your desires are what you know. But when you say yes to the universe from consciousness, what comes is beyond your imagination. So you're opening yourself to everything. The universe knows what you want or what you think you want, obviously. But you have to let it go as well. If you're happy inside, you enjoy everything. You can have your goals and you'll achieve them. But if you have this, you'll enjoy them even more. And you won't suffer the path. Okay, time for lunch. Gracias.
Come visit our webpage for books, movies, and our wonderful retreat centers. Isha's simple yet powerful system is transforming lives around the world.